Assalamu alaikum, I am Rana and I'm going to explain the immune response in HIV. First of all, to understand the immune response in HIV, we should understand what is HIV. Human immunodeficiency virus is a virus that targets the cells of immune system that will cause immunodeficiency, and we will discuss this in detail. We have primary and secondary immunodeficiency diseases, and HIV is a secondary immunodeficiency disease because it is not inherited, but we get it from other infected people, either by breastfeeding, during childbirth, or from sexual transmission, which is the most common. We have two types of HIV, 1 and 2, but we will focus on 1 because it's most common, and it belongs to retroviroid group. Retroviroid group means it's an RNA virus. So let's focus here and see how does this virus invade the host cell. This virus have GB120 protein on its surface that will bind and target the cells that have CD4 molecule on their membrane, including macrophage, dendritic cells, and T cells. They need also co-receptor called CCR5 receptor to maintain their entry, the virus entry into the host cell. Something interesting that I found, people with homozygous mutation in this co-receptor are resistant and have immunity against HIV, because without this receptor, the virus cannot enter into the cell. So let's see what happens when the virus enters the cell. As I said, it's an RNA virus, so it needs the reverse transcriptase enzyme to convert its RNA into DNA, and this happens in the cytoplasm of the host cell. After this, it needs the integrate enzyme to maintain its entry into the genome of the host cell to be replicated and goes out of the cell to be mature virus. So, how does our immune fight against this virus? We know that we have two mechanisms or two systems, innate and adaptive immune response. Innate response is the first defense of our immune system against any infection, including HIV infection. And adaptive immune response includes cellular and humoral immune response, which is by B lymphocyte, and cellular by T cells. Unfortunately, the virus targets mainly the T cells because of the CD4 molecule. Let's revise. We have the HIV virus that targets the cells that have CD4 on their membrane, and then it goes out of the cell. So what happened here, it's the virus causing lysis to this cell and go to infect other immune system cells. So it targets the T helper cell, and these cells are very important cells for our immune system because they activate both B lymphocytes and cytotoxic T cells. Cytotoxic T cells, they responsible for killing the infected cells, and B cells, which are the humoral response, are producing antibodies to bind to the viral antigen, which is B24, to mark the virus for other immune cells to come and destroy it. So without T helper cell, we don't have cytotoxic T cells or either B cells, so we don't have adaptive immune response. HIV have 3 stages, which are acute, chronic, and AIDS. First stage is the acute infection, and it's when the virus enter the body and begin to reduce the CD4 cells count. Then we have the chronic stage, which is when the virus increase in number and immune system is weak and cannot fight back against the virus. And also T cells deplete and reduce in number because of 2 things. Because of the HIV inducing cell lysis, after it go out of the cell, it causes lysis to it, and also because of the cytotoxic T cells which kill the infected cells, which are T helper cells. We have here a picture to explain. This is a healthy body, and this is the first stage when the virus enters the human body and begin to infect it. And this is the chronic stage when the CD4 count is reduced and the viral count is increased because of its replication. And this is the AIDS, and it's the last stage that I will explain in next slide. AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is the last stage of HIV infection, and it's symptoms that results from HIV virus. This is the difference between it and HIV. It's not same. It's only symptoms that results from HIV virus. So when we can say that the patient have AIDS is when T cells count is below 200, because the normal count is between 500 to 1600. And also when the patient have opportunistic infection associated with HIV infection. And why does this happen? Because when you get an HIV infection, your immune will become weak and you will be more exposed to any infection, as infection of the brain, which is encephalitis, infection of respiratory system as pneumonia, or infection of intestine by parasite that will cause diarrhea or even tumor. I hope it was simple and helpful, and thank you.